Michael O'Leary, Ryanair's famously outspoken chief executive, has never been shy of confrontation, but his latest broadside against Rachel Reeves and Sir Keir Starmer is more than a tantrum from a temperamental airline boss. It's an economic warning shot and perhaps a prophecy that Britain's growth hopes may be grounded before takeoff. O'Leary's attack is blistering. The UK economy under the current leadership is doomed, he says, adding that Reeves hasn't the rashers how to deliver growth. Colourful as ever, but the substance beneath the rhetoric deserves serious attention. At the core of O'Leary's tirade lies Labour's taxation strategy. Reeves plans to fill a £30 billion fiscal hole, larger through higher taxes, and particularly on wealth and air travel. Air passenger duty, APD, already increased once under Reeves, is due to rise again in April. For O'Leary, this is economic self-sabotage. He argues that Labour is punishing the very sectors that can generate regional growth and jobs. Aviation, he insists, connects Britain's industrial regions to global markets. Raising APD by even £2 on a £45 fare is, as he puts it, a 5% increase that will push airlines to move capacity abroad. He's a point. Countries like Sweden, Hungary and Italy have scrapped environmental levies and seen aviation rebound faster. Reeves, by contrast, appears determined to turn airports like Manchester and Glasgow into tax casualties. Beyond the airline industry, O'Leary's argument reflects a wider anxiety in the business community that Labour's economic policy is reactive, not visionary. Reeves's insistence on fiscal rectitude, no borrowing for day-to-day spending, may reassure markets, but it constrains the imagination of her government, and O'Leary mocks this contradiction. A party elected on a growth agenda that now risks throttling enterprise through tax hikes. He's not alone. The Institute of Directors, the CBI, even Goldman Sachs have all warned against further tax rises on investment and business activity. Starmer's mantra of stability first is beginning to sound like paralysis by caution. It pleases accountants but frightens innovators. O'Leary's words sting because they come from someone who once expressed support for Labour's growth ambitions. His disillusion, therefore, after barely a year, is politically damaging. When he says Reeves found money for train drivers already vastly overpaid, he taps into a deeper narrative that Labour has capitulated to union demands while neglecting private sector dynamism. For a government elected on competence and growth, the accusation is toxic. O'Leary is also acutely aware of optics. His declaration that rich people are fleeing London before Rachel Reeves taxes their mansions may be exaggerated, but it captures a sentiment spreading among high earners and investors that the government's fiscal instincts are punitive, not productive. O'Leary's most compelling argument is regional. He pleads for the abolition of APD outside London, arguing that it would cost £2 billion, but pay for itself in tourism, VAT receipts and job creation. He accuses Reeves of ignoring offers from Ryanair to expand regional routes and deliver 50% traffic growth to areas that voted Labour last year. The silence from the Treasury, he claims, speaks volumes. They're hopeless. They can't even do their own maths. It is theatre, yes, but it's the kind of theatre that resonates with voters in Birmingham, Liverpool and Glasgow who feel economic recovery has passed them by. Ironically, O'Leary's prediction that Labour will doom the economy comes just as Ryanair posts record profits, €2.5 billion in 6 months, up 42%. Fares have risen by 13%, passengers by 3%, and the company expects 207 million flyers this year. For him, Labour's failure could be Ryanair's gain. As people get more price-sensitive, he quipped, more of them will fly Ryanair. It is capitalism's cynical poetry. Public policy incompetence is good for the low-cost carrier. The Treasury's response has so far been muted and mathematically suspect. O'Leary gleefully recounts how number 11 wrote to him claiming a £2 APD rise represented just 1% of average fares, prompting his retort, they can't even do their own maths. This exchange underscores a larger problem for Labour, an inability to communicate clearly with business. Reeves and Starmer are haunted by a perception that they lack private sector literacy, a perception O'Leary is now weaponising. Michael O'Leary is a provocateur. But his fusillade lands because it speaks to something real. Britain's economy feels sluggish, overtaxed and risk-averse. The Labour government, talks about growth but governs like an auditor. O'Leary, for all his bombast, articulates a truth. You cannot tax your way to prosperity. His message is crude, but it cuts deep. And unless Reeves offers a credible pro-growth alternative in her November budget, Labour may find that the only sector booming under its watch is Ryanair's passenger numbers. The irony of O'Leary's excoriating attack is that he may yet prove himself right, not because Labour will destroy the economy overnight, but because its leaders seem determined to smother it quietly, one tax at a time.